For this tutorial, I'm going to apply a makeover to a portrait. So let's find a picture, and we can click on the Open File icon, and we'll select the first picture there. Okay, first thing we need to do is actually rotate the picture into the correct orientation, so we can use the Rotate Left button there. But there is actually a better way of doing this, so let's close it down again. And we're going to File, Preferences, File Format Preferences. Now if you've taken the picture with a digital camera and it has the image rotation EXIF data on there, we can apply that to the picture when we open it. So we'll check on this box here and go OK. Now when we open the same picture, the picture's rotated automatically for us. So now let's make the best use of the workspace area, and we'll maximize this window here, and this gets rid of the window's borders. So now let's apply a makeover to this picture. And the first thing I want to remove is the logo on the t-shirt. So let's go over to the left hand side there, and under the Burn Tool drop down list we can find an item called Push. Now I'm going to alter the brush size on this just to make it slightly bigger, and we can do that by holding down the Alt key and pulling down the mouse or pushing up the mouse accordingly. So I'll go for there. And now all we need to do is just push the t-shirt down. It's just pushing these pixels out of the picture, but it's actually also using the pictures above, so it doesn't take very long to do this at all. And there we have it. We've removed the logo. And now we're going to remove some of the imperfections on the skin. So for this we'll use the Makeover tool, which can be found on the left hand side here, and we're going to select the Blemish Fixer. We can now zoom in on the picture by using the scroll wheel on your mouse, or by pressing the plus key on your numeric pad. And if I want to scroll through the picture, we can hold the space bar down and just drag the picture downwards. And now all we need to do is just click on the spots to remove them. It's a very fast and simple job. It's going to take a while to do this, so I'm going to fast forward to the finish stage. Now that's removed most of the blemishes from this man's face, but we still have one small problem, and that's just above this man's eye, where we have a scratch mark. Fortunately, PaintShopPro also has a scratch remover tool, so we'll click on there, and we just now need to apply a scratch remover to there. Now the width of this scratch remover can be altered on the options bar itself, but for this particular scratch 48 pixels is wide enough, and we just release the button. You can apply it twice if it's not quite gone, and there we have it. Now that we've removed the skin blemishes, I want to actually remove the background from the picture. So how do we go about this? Well, I'm going to zoom in to start with. So we're going to zoom in to roughly about 60%, which should be fine, and I'm going to scroll around. On the left hand side, under the Magic Wand tool, I'm going to select Freehand Selection, and then going up to the options bar, I'm going to select Smart Edge. And now we can place the cursor on the edge of the jacket and just click there, and if we drag along we can see a bounding box. Now this is looking for contrasting edges within the actual box itself. So this is a love of labour here. We just have to go round the entire area making these selections. It doesn't take too long. Now we can't use the scroll bars to move our image around, but what we can do is actually take the cursor to the top edge of the screen, and the screen will automatically scroll upwards. So now we carry on making our selection all the way around. This is going to take a little while because I'm going to go around the entire edge. So I'm going to fast forward this again. Now if you do make a mistake along the lines here and you've gone slightly astray, as I've just done there on purpose, you can press the delete key, which will remove the last points, and pick it up again. And this is taking about 3 or 4 minutes to do the entire selection. And to finish off, you just take your cursor down to the bottom edge and along and back up to the top where we meet. And if we double click on image, this will now complete the selection. Once you've made your selection, the first thing you should do is to save it and go into selections, save selection to disk, and we'll give it a unique name. And here we've given it portrait, and we can just click on save. With the selection in place, we can now go to edit, copy, and this will put the entire contents of the selection onto the clipboard. And now we can go to edit, paste as new layer. And here we can see that the clipboard contents have been pasted in as a brand new layer, which is sitting above our original background layer. And because the background layer is still visible, that's why we've got the background to the picture here. If I turned off the background, we can see that it's a perfect cutout. So now I'm going to deselect the selection, and we can do that by doing select none or Control and D. And I'm going to add a new layer above the background layer, and we're going to add our gradient to this. So we go to layers, new raster layer, and I'm going to accept the defaults on this one. So now let's select our flood fill tool, which is the paint bucket on the left. I'm going up here on the right here, and I'm going to choose a gradient from our materials palette, and there's our gradient. I can double click on the gradient above here, and now I can select a gradient from the vast selection that's available there, and I'm going to choose this particular one, and I'm also going to change the angle on this to 180 degrees. Say OK, and now make sure that the blank raster 2 layer is highlighted, and then click on the image area, and the gradient has filled up the entire area. Now that we've placed the gradient layer below our cutout layer, we can actually change this gradient to anything we'd like. So let's do that. I'll just push this window over to the left here, and we're going to adjust, and we'll go to hue and saturation. And now we click on the preview on image, we can actually change the hue to anything we like and just change the background colors accordingly. And we get some nice effects, and we can also adjust the light brightness, make it slightly darker. That looks okay, so let's click on OK. But the actual face is looking a little bit bright, so if we click on the top layer there, and now we go to layers, and we'll create a new layer group. Just accept the defaults again. Clicking on the layer within this layer group, I'm going to now create an adjustment layer. I'm going to create a curves layer here. And we'll just move this out of the way, and now I can adjust the curves. As you can see, by doing it as a grouped layer, I'm only adjusting this cutout layer here. I'm not actually adjusting the background. So if I do an extreme movement on this, you'll see that's only the cutout layer that's being affected. The background layer remains intact. So now let's do a sort of adjustment that I would like. It's just slightly darker there, and that's looking quite good now. And one of the advantages of doing an adjustment layer is that you can go back at any stage and re-edit the adjustments. And I'm looking at the picture now, and I'm thinking there's a little bit too much red in there. So if we go to the red channel and we just reduce the red very slightly and click on the preview with image, and you can actually adjust the color there, and that's looking a little bit better now. There we go. OK. Of course, you can always turn the adjustment layer off at any stage as well, so nothing is destructive here. And the reason I've put in the gradient background is that I can now use a variety of different background colours or even images as a backdrop to my photograph, and this will give you ultimate control on your own photographs.